Hi, my name's Cheryl and I'm from Belfast and I'm 58 years old. My experience of breast cancer goes back 15 years. So I had primary 15 years ago. I was triple negative. I was in treatment for about a year. And then 10 years later, it came back as primary cancer, actually DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ. And then within a year of that, I was diagnosed with secondary. So that was in November 2020 and obviously during COVID. So I had never even heard of secondary breast cancer before, even though I'd had 2 previous primary cancer diagnoses. So I was kind of in a bit of a daze. So when I was called in to see the consultant, I was told that my prognosis was very poor. I had 2 tumours under my arm, 1 tumour in my breastbone, 1 tumour in my neck, a tumour in my spine, and my lungs. They wouldn't tell me how many tumours I had. There were so many. So that actual day was my son's 18th birthday. But the consultant advised me, because of such a poor prognosis, to go home and tell the family. So that was about 4.5 years ago. So I started on treatment, 6 courses of docetaxel, which I took an allergic reaction to, went into anaphylactic shock, but I was able to actually continue with that. And I was also on denosumab and Phesgo. So I got through that initial treatment. I was very ill at the time, but once the docetaxel, or whatever you pronounce it, once that ended, then I was on the Phesgo. And last week I actually had my 69th Phesgo. So we're looking over 4.5 years later down the line. I'm doing very well. I have developed a lung condition called pulmonary fibrosis, and the doctors were initially of the opinion that that was caused by the Phesgo. But my last lung examinations have said that the lungs are stable, that they haven't got any worse. So apart from, the side effects, everybody has side effects from the medication, but I'm coping with the Phesgo really well. No, I was never told anything about secondary. My opinion of breast cancer was that there was one type of breast cancer. So whenever I was diagnosed with the secondary, obviously we go into Mr. Google, and I just was blown away. And I think that is actually something that patients with primary should be given the option to find out more about secondary, so that they're aware of the signs and symptoms or what to look out for. But I felt I was never really given any information about any type of progression. I always had in my mind that primary, in inverted commas, was the good cancer, or primary breast cancer, and then you would get over it and you ring the bell. And yeah, so I believe the information about secondary is not out there with the general public. I would do a lot of fundraising, and I think that's probably one of the things that most people would say to me afterwards is, I had no idea that there is secondary breast cancer and you can actually die of breast cancer. The misconceptions around the disease, yes, I don't think it's talked about enough. We have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is in October, and only one day in that whole month is dedicated to secondary breast cancer. So it's kind of like a dirty little secret. Nobody wants to talk about it, discuss about it. Even research, people obviously give a lot of money to breast cancer research, and a very, very small percentage of that actually goes into secondary breast cancer. And my feeling at the time was that you're nearly written off once you've got secondary breast cancer. So, and I completely understand that they want to find a cure, and everybody wants to find a cure for all types of cancer and primary breast cancer. But we are living with this on a daily basis, and we're important too. We shouldn't be written off. We shouldn't be second best. And that's part of the reason I've actually got involved in this campaign, is to raise awareness of the disease, get it spoken about, and maybe even help some people along the way that have had primary and feel they have a twinge in their back or they have a cough, and give them a little bit more information that they can go along and talk to their GP about it and say, look, I've had a primary diagnosis. Is this possible that it could be connected to that, or it could be something coming back? When I was first diagnosed with primary, I have two boys. One of them is now 22 and one of them is 27. So my first time I had primary was, one of them was 8 and one of them was 13. The 8-year-old just dealt with it like any 8-year-old would do, just get on with it. 13-year-old, an early teenager, he didn't want to talk about it. He used to come and see me in the hospital and sit in the corner with his head down. But whenever I was diagnosed with the secondary, as I said earlier, my youngest, it was his 18th birthday, and we always said that we would be honest with our children the whole way through. And they've always been involved in decisions I've made about treatment. And it has, obviously, my husband as well, it's impacted him. And I think the partners are often forgotten about in the disease as well, because everybody will ask my husband, how's Cheryl doing? How's she getting on? How's the treatment? Very few people will actually say to him, and how are you? And he's the one living with it, theoretically living with it too, when he has to watch me whenever I'm not well. But I think, having told my boys, they've had a chance to get used to it, and they know every step of the way, when things get worse, that they're nearly prepared for it. So I do personally, everybody has their own opinion on it, but personally for me it was the right thing to do, to tell the family and to bring them on the journey with me. The advice I would give to somebody who's just found out they've secondary breast cancer is to let them know they're not on their own. There are organisations out there that they can reach out to. It's like a secondary breast cancer community. And Make Seconds Count are the charity that solely deal with people with secondary breast cancer. And I chose to get involved with Make Seconds Count really for that reason, because I found it hard being involved with charities that also, and everybody's different in each charity, everybody will find their own charity, but a lot of breast cancer charities, it's about people ringing the bell and celebration of them being able to move on with their life. And we're living with it day by day. And friends of mine have said, do you not find it hard being in a group that we will lose people, and that's the nature of the disease. But from my perspective, I certainly gain an awful lot more from being involved in a charity where people actually understand, and we can have that conversation about how we feel on medication and just living a daily life. So I think the message I would really want to put out to anybody that has been newly diagnosed is there's also hope. There's hope that you can live well with the disease. I'm living proof. 4.5 years down the line, I just get on with life every day. That's my life now. It's a different type of life, but I can get on with it and enjoy it. And yeah, so it's just an opening of another chapter in the book. Well, I had previously been involved with a campaign, a photo shoot. And the photographer who has been involved in this particular campaign, the truth be told, Jennifer is a personal friend of mine. And I had asked Jennifer a number of years ago, whenever I was initially diagnosed, to photograph me to the end of my journey, because I wanted people to know that it's no cancer, it's a good cancer to have. And it does have an impact on your body. And you might not have physical scars, but people will carry those scars in their head as well. And I knew Jennifer, as a photographer, would aim to capture those emotions in people's faces. So whenever I was asked to take part in this campaign, I actually was quite humbled to be the representative for Northern Ireland with 15 other women from around the UK. And it is a talking shop, and actually art advocacy through art is what I would call it. And it has been, I have had experience of it in the past, and it really is a different way to get your story across.